Welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. Continual watching beyond this point may result in terminal face palming and a complete loss of wokeness. You have been warned.
All right. Hey, welcome to the NonSequitur Show. Yes, it's been a while, and I apologize, but I've been busy. I have real-life stuff and real-life commitments, so I haven't been able to stream as much as I would like to. I have 3 channels, and trying to keep them all up is very, very difficult. However, I am still trying. There's a couple things that I want to talk about later on my own personal channel or on the Great Debate Community channel, or maybe even my co-host channel, who's invisible here because she's not on camera. But she is here somewhere in the background, I assure you. I'll introduce her in a second. But I am trying to put out content. So anyways, let me introduce my co-host for today. Should I just use your first name? Can I use first? Yeah, everybody knows who you know. Everybody knows you're Lisa. But she does a channel called Best in Truth, SYT, I think is the suffix for it. But she does a lot of commentary on the old Michelle Sabotos. How do you pronounce her name? Michelle what?
The crazy lady.
The crazy lady. That's all I know her as. The crazy lady that for some reason has a weird obsession with Molly Golightly, like so many people weirdly do. So your channel, Lisa, is dedicated to that, it seems, and I like, for some reason, listen to it. And I was over there on her channel, and I was listening for about, I don't know, 90 minutes and stuff, but I was like, hey, yeah, you want to come over and talk about this particular topic on my my channel? And she's like, what's that? I'm like, oh, you're in for a treat. So anyways, first, Lisa, introduce yourself so my audience knows who you are. And by the way, hi to your audience over there as well. But yeah, what do you do on YouTube again?
I just kind of like, we do trivia nights. We talk about a little drama. We've kind of gone down the Michelle debate rabbit hole only because when she started with the drinking and driving, and then, it just became a thing from there, but we're trying not to give her too much attention. But we have a good group, mostly women, a few men in there that come in there and entertain us, but we just pretty much chat. We have wellness nights, we do trivia, we talk about whatever. I've
seen you have a well cohesive community over there. I'm actually really impressed. I've had communities in the past. Obviously, things don't last forever, and I don't expect them to. But while they do last, it's nice when you have a group of people with at least a similar mindset. They don't always have to agree on everything, but they can discuss topics on an intellectual level and not resort to, basal types of insults and invectives and fallacies. And that's what this channel is dedicated to. So I kind of find people that have similar mindsets that just want to talk about things on a level of not just, you're mean and, Sky Daddy kind of stuff. I mean, I talk about philosophy and theology and science, and I like that about your community over there. It gels well together from what I've seen. Yeah. You agree?
I'm trying to figure out why I can't see like the regular chat back here in StreamYard.
Look on the live chat on the outside, like in the video, because I'm not streaming through StreamYards. I'm actually using OBS.
Oh, that's why. Duh.
Yeah. Okay. You're so used to StreamYards.
No worries.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I missed what you said because I was like so involved trying to look for that.
Like I said, I was just saying that your community is really cohesive over there.
We do, and I try to be very fair. My biggest thing was, I know that everybody follows different creators, but I wanted everybody to be able to come in, and even if they don't like say, I don't know, for example, you like this one and I don't, but you can still come in my chat and get to know me outside of me liking a creator that you don't like. You know what I mean? Like we can get to know each other as subscribers or supporters and not involve the bullcrap. Like to be able to have a group discussion, opinions respectfully. Just have a good time, really.
Absolutely. And by the way, Flamo's not serious. Flamo's a friend of mine. Flamo says, sis, and he's being like sarcastic. He's like, sis, when did Steve McRae become a right-wing sock jock? Exactly. Like it's like it's so weird, right? This is so weird. Like seeing Tucker Carlson on MSNBC and Fox News later. Yeah, no, I'm definitely not right-wing shock jock. You know what's so funny is I don't even really listen to any of them. The only time I really see them come up is when other people put them on Twitter or something like that. But just like anything, I find that there's certain things that maybe a person who tends right I may agree with, and some person that left they may agree with. I'm a centrist. I go both ways, I guess, politically speaking. And so I don't have any kind of litmus test kind of things. There's really no one thing to me that is a litmus test of who I would vote for. Maybe if I had one, though, it would be what's called secularism. I do very strongly believe in secular separation of church and state.
Could be.
Yeah. So other than that, though, there's really not much I have any kind of litmus test as far as that. But let's dive into this. So I gave you a little background on Jeffrey earlier on your channel. I put this on my Facebook. Can you see on the StreamYards? Can you see what I'm showing?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear it yet, so I'll play it when I play this.
Yep.
But I said trans rights do not entail that anyone respects this creepy AF, if you can figure what that means, nutjob Jeffrey Marsh, who has a Patreon account that he uses to attract kids so he can tell them their parents screwed them up and that they are loved and he understands them. This is word for word. I mean, this is basically word for word what this man has said. It has nothing to do, let me make this very clear, this has nothing to do with trans rights or trans allyism or transgenderism. This is somebody who I personally believe is using that community for their own narcissistic supply. Just like, you talk about Michelle, she has these people that enable her. I believe that this person is using the trans community for their narcissistic supply, because my view is very simple, and then we'll play these things I want to get your view on and the audience's view. That if you're a grown adult, I don't care if you're gay, straight, queer, bi, omni, I don't care what the hell you identify as. You have no right to talk to children without their parents being there about sexual things. None. I mean, obviously, if you're an educator and, it's senior year and you're talking biology class, sure. But I'm talking about a YouTuber or a TikTok person who says, please come to my Patreon so we can have private discussions about sex without your parents, because they don't understand you and they screwed you up. I personally, not only am I absolutely convinced that is forms of grooming and signs of grooming, but I believe that he actually is grooming people. Now, again, we'll talk about it, and if you want to, people can sway me that he's not actually grooming. Okay, I can change my position on that. But don't gaslight me and say that those are not signs of grooming when I absolutely know that they are, and anybody who has ever looked into what grooming is would know those are signs of grooming. But let me make this very clear. This does not generalize to the entire trans community or the gay community in any way, shape, or form. 99.99% of the people in the community are absolutely just like anybody else, and they should be treated just like anybody else. But this is not in that 99.99%. This is an outlier of somebody who is doing some very questionable behavior that if it was anybody else, if he was a straight male saying to straight kids, come talk to me about sex without your parents being around, there'd be open, wide condemnation. But the fact that he identifies as non-binary, and will take any pronoun, I guess, they won't care about pronouns. To me, that's very telling that they get a special dispensation merely because they claim to be non-binary, that what they're doing is any different than somebody that is straight saying, or gay or whatever, saying, hey, I want to talk to your children about sex. It is inappropriate. That's my position. So now you know where I stand on it. Do you want to weigh in on it before I play this first video and hopefully you can hear it? Sorry,
from what you just
my little
me,
rant.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, from what you just now, I told you I don't know much about him, but the first thing I Googled about him, when you said his name, it came up, that he was part of that community, which nothing against the LGBTQIA plus community. But I agree, if it was a straight man reaching out to straight children, it would be an outrage. Or a straight woman reaching out to young children.
Yeah, it's just
100%.
I wouldn't want anybody talking to my child
what you
about. My child's almost an adult. She turns 18 here soon, and I'm taking off the slow mode here. Somebody asked. I'm clear with that. I've got to remember how to do it. But I don't want anybody talking to my children in private about topics that just to kind of isolate them from their parents. I mean, why would I want my child to go no contact with me? First of all, my child, is not, any reason to. But if you have somebody adult that is trying to gain their confidence and say, hey, look, you really should go no contact with your dad. He's screwed you up and start talking about sexual things to my daughter. Yeah, I'm going to have an issue with this. There goes us. I just moved the.
Yeah, I would be pissed. I'm not gonna lie. I would be pissed if I caught my young child talking about that to anyone.
Yep.
To anyone. It wouldn't matter. Just to anyone, period, except for me as a mother.
It's just inappropriate. It's completely inappropriate. All right, so
completely inappropriate.
Hopefully you can hear this.
I can't believe this is allowed.
And this is what I'm saying. This is on my Facebook page that I was getting pushback on it, right? That people were saying, well, I'm not defending Jeffrey, but I'm like, yeah, you kind of are, right? I mean, so let me. Can you hear this in the stream yards?
Let me tell you something about LGBTQ rights, about trans rights. This is only going in one direction.
Now listen.
You will respect us.
Listen to that carefully.
You can be upset. You can be angry. You can think it's unfair. You can feel like we're stealing something from you. But it's still only going in one direction. You will respect us.
Yeah. So, we got there. So if
Let me tell you something about
hang on. If you listen very carefully, what Jeffrey's saying is basically he is saying, I'm a narcissist. You will respect my authority. You will respect what I have to tell you, regardless. And if I want to talk to your children, you will respect that. No, I won't. No, and there's no obligation. And this is what I'm saying. The trans community needs to call out this type of behavior because it does them no good. Because here you have a dishonest actor using the trans community to say, oh, I'm non-binary. I'm in the trans community. And by the way, I've talked to many non-binaries that say that that's the same as trans. Some agree, some disagree, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me either way. But they're saying, because I'm trans, you must agree with me. You will respect me. No, respect is earned. Absolutely earned. I don't respect.
That's what my question to you was going to be. Is he saying because, is he using that community, the trans community, as a shield?
Yes.
To say you can't attack me because if you attack me, you're attacking me because I'm trans, non-binary. Yeah.
And that's the pushback that I've gotten on both my Twitter. If you guys want to find me on Twitter, it's linked below. It's just Steve McRae @ Steve McRae _ the underscore symbol. Because a lot of this happens on Twitter as well as my Facebook. You could try to go to my Facebook, but I've already got like 5,000, so I don't know. You could follow, but yeah. So that's exactly what he's saying. He's trying to use it as some kind of shield. And I see this on my Facebook page when people say, well, by you calling out Jeffrey, you're enabling bigots. This is what the argument that people have told me. Or very few people, but one or two. And I'm like, how is this enabling bigots? This should be called out, and this should show bigots, hey, the trans people are willing to police their own. How is that enabling a bigot? If a bigot uses this as a weapon, you just call the bigot out for it. I don't understand this even how somebody could rationally put the safety of children ahead of how it may appear to some bigot. People know that I support the trans community. People know I support LGBTQ plus causes. I'm a cisgender, heterosexual white male. But, I like to think that people are people and marry who you want, fall in love with who you want, have sex with who you want. I don't care. As long as you're an adult. And consensual, obviously. But when somebody says that they must be respected, if that is not so archetypical of what a malignant narcissist would say, I don't know what else would be.
I don't know. I don't even understand why the trans community it's even has anything to do with this. It really doesn't. It's the fact that he's using a platform to talk to children about sex. That doesn't, because you're in a community, whatever community you're in, doesn't give you the right to do that.
Yep. And by the way, he's so funny because sometimes he'll say he's non-binary, and other times he will say he's a gay man. And I mean, okay, they're not mutually exclusive, but I think he's trying to cover all different areas to avoid criticism, because he'll, if you go after Jeffrey and you dare attack him, you're vilified. He has flying monkeys everywhere, and we'll get into the video on that. And people will say, oh, well, you're attacking a trans person or a non-binary person or a gay person or whatever. No, this has nothing to do with any of those things. This, simplified, is a grown man trying to talk to children behind their parents' backs and tell them to go, quote, no contact. That is the only thing that needs to be really addressed. The other factors that, because he uses the trans community, will be addressed, and that's what people are talking about him. But the core issue, the main issue to be had here, is merely a grown adult talking to children behind parents' back. That's it. That is my view on it. Now, again, I'm happy to take criticism on it. People will try to talk me out of that position, but that's not what's happening on my Facebook page. And you can find me on Facebook, like I said, below. But, some of it has 172 comments already. And that's actually kind of light. I usually get about 500. A little flex there. But yeah, I mean, some of these comments are bizarre. Like holy shit. As obnoxious as that video is, some of the comments here are terrible bigots with insane ideas, yet you, Steve, seem fine with it. Well, first of all, I didn't really see that many, what I would consider to be bigoted comments. People have pushback, but I try to have conversations. If somebody says a bigoted comment, I'm going to be like, okay, well, that's not appropriate. Let's discuss why it's not appropriate. But just by saying that this person is grooming, that's not a bigoted comment.
No, it has nothing to do with his sexuality. I don't think it has anything to do with his sexuality.
Yep. This person here is trans. This person I know from I know a lot of people trans, and they say, as for my views on this, respect and acceptance is earned. I do not protest just for others to accept me. Absolutely. And I get along fantastic with Melissa, and she's prominent on Facebook in the trans community. So there are people out there that are stepping up and saying this is not acceptable, and it should pun intended, it should transcend transgender lines, and whether you're cis, whether you're hetero, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're queer, whatever you want to call yourself, it doesn't matter. It all boils down to this single person doing something that I define to be abhorrent behavior. But yeah, this person's salty Mike. Here, can you read? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me spread this out so people can read these comments better. My bad. This is on my personal Facebook, so it's all public. So, like I said, Melissa was up here. So, where was it at? Salty had said, where is it at? Oh, hey, like this person. I think you're just full of it and wonder what your obsession is here. So let me ask you, Lisa. Me pointing out that somebody is grooming children, how is that an obsession? First of all, I barely talk about this on my Facebook page. I don't think I've ever talked about grooming ever on Non Sequitur. We have some discussions with incels. But why do these people throw out these hyperbolic terms and words like they're a defeater to things? Like, oh, you're just obsessed.
Because that's the easiest thing to do. If they have nothing of quality to say or nothing that could contribute to a real conversation, it's just, oh, you're attacking this community, or oh, you're obsessive because you're having a conversation about it.
Absolutely right.
If they have nothing constructive to add, then that's what they do. That's how I kind of feel like people do.
Absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. And by the way, we'll discuss more about that too. I got a lot to cover here, and that's one of the things I'll be talking about. People using it to troll people. Wow says a person's sexuality is irrelevant. I absolutely agree. Matter of fact, and I understand that I probably am in the quote minority here on this particular view. But when somebody says that they're omnisexual or pansexual or bisexual or gay or straight, those are not genders to me. Those are sexual, inclinations, which anybody's entitled to. As again, if you're an adult, love who you want. What you're attracted to is you're attracted to, and you don't have to justify it to me or anybody else. I couldn't care less. Go with God and be happy. I couldn't care. Just my thing is, don't use children as a weapon in order to, justify certain actions and things that you're doing that may not be related to just your sexuality. Most people, 99.99% of the gay community live their lives like anybody freaking else, right? But when you have certain people that are doing unethical things and involving children, that needs to call. I did the same thing with the Catholic Church, and I apologize to any Catholics out there, sort of, but that needed to be called out. Whether you're Catholic or not, that type of behavior needed to be called out, right? And there was a big scandal. But nobody should say, well, you're bashing religion because you're calling out Catholic, priests. No, they're completely different things. Religion and that were very two different topics. So anyway, so like this person had said, yeah, nothing quite like spreading the modern satanic panic bullshit. How are those related? First of all, I lived through the satanic panic. It was in the 80s. It was fake. But this is not satanic panic when you have people that we do know exist that do group children. That is not some kind of mythological nonsense that people had thinking, oh, Satan's going to go out and get you. I could not believe that this is the defense that this person is using to say, oh, this is some kind of satanic panic by me mentioning one person, not entire community, not saying that this applies to anybody else but this one person. And this is the response I get.
It's because I know that all people don't agree on things, and I think that some people just find it fun just to disagree, just for the simple reason they want to disagree.
Yep. Let's see here. I don't know. Somebody asked me if this Dennis Warden is the same person that started all the ARIA nonsense years ago. I'm not quite sure. They have been hit or miss. It's so funny because this person, Dennis, agrees with me on the whole atheism thing, as far as like philosophy speaking. I'm not an atheist. I'm not a theist. I'm agnostic. I'm known as the a-holy pope of agnosticism. If anything, I have a niche in the YouTube communities as being agnostic, or at least talking about agnosticism. He agrees with me on the philosophical stuff. Like my paper that I wrote, he agrees with me. But when it comes to this, way off base.
Quick question, Steve. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was reading the chat. Some of us don't know what cis means, cisgender.
Okay, so cis is typically used as a term in biology or chemistry to mean like right-handed or left-handed, okay? And so cis basically means that you're born with the gender you identify with, biologically speaking. Now, This is something that, again, people love to mix terms. I go by straight biological terminology when I took biology in college. In biology, the human beings, there's the male of the species and there's the female of the species. That's biology. There's no way around that. It is a dichotomy. And generally speaking, when you use the word like woman, it's an adult female. However, gender expression is a lot more complicated. People say gender is a social construct, and if you read critical race theory, they really go off of radical feminism, and they really implore a lot of this in what's called intersectionality in college. And so all these types of things are related, whether you believe it or not. Intersectionality, radical feminism, critical race theory, and multiculturalism have all interplay with each other. And one of the things they try to suggest, and again, I don't even have a really strong opinion on this either, is that gender is different from sex. That might be true in the last few decades by the way they're using the terms, and I'm okay with that. But 50 years ago, gender and sex were used synonymously. There was no difference. But I think we have learned that sex is, I believe, immutable as far as biology, but gender can be a lot more different because of your social presentation, how you identify with, how you feel inside as a man or woman, and I'm okay with that. I can imagine myself, like I'm a cisgender heterosexual white male, which means I'm attracted to women. I identify as a male. I think I look like a male. But if I could put myself into somebody else's shoes, because it's called empathy, and think to myself, what would it be like if my body suddenly changed to a female? Now, granted, after I got over the initial, yeah, this is cool, but I'm like, this is not how I feel. I feel like a male, right? And so I can understand gender dysphoria. I don't have to experience it to understand, because I have empathy and compassion, that there are people that legitimately have these experiences, right? And that's where I think with the right-wing pundits and the far right, they go to an extreme, because I think that some do actually deny those experiences, and I think it's wrong. because I think that people absolutely do have the experiences. Why? Because I can imagine it, right? Because at least if you all of a sudden were put in a man's body, you were now male, physically male. Let's say you're the Rock. It would feel odd to you, right? You would feel strange looking at yourself, would you not?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. See, because you have empathy. Oh, wait, you're not a sociopath or a psychopath. You can,
try not to be.
Right, yeah. And that's the ability to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? And so I can definitely think people have this, but I think that they have to go through a very strong series and batteries of tests with their physicians to determine, the correct course of action medically. I don't think, obviously, having gender affirming surgery for children, I have issues with it, and we'll discuss that on another show maybe. But as an adult, you make your own decisions, but we have realized that it doesn't always solve the problem, because I don't think they've gone through enough counseling to determine what the mental help that they need is, because gender dysphoria is a mental issue. That is not derogatory, and it shouldn't be used derogatory. It is a mental issue like anything else, where something is wrong with the mind that makes you feel uncomfortable, unhappy, and affects your daily life. And I feel for that. I wouldn't want to go through that. So, a cisgendered person, which was your own question, is just somebody who identifies what biologically their sex is, the male or the female of the species. Does that work?
Yep. I was reading the chat and somebody said, I didn't know what cis, and I was like, I don't know what that means either. It's very I'm used to the old school terms, but I try to be very careful with what I say, because I'm very open, and like I said, I'm very cut and dry. Kids are kids. Just let them be kids. No adult should be talking to any children about anything of the sort unless they're their parent or a psychologist.
And
something of that sort.
I agree, and it's so. See, here's my view. If you look at the numbers, and again, I'm not a data file, so I'm not really somebody who goes look at the data and throw out numbers. Okay, but if you really look at the numbers, there are the people that identify as intersex or transgender or things like that are less than 1.7%. It's usually between 8.8 and 0.17, depending on how you use the terms. It's a very small percentage. And so even in that small percentage, you're going to have people that really do have strong gender dysphoria, where gender affirming surgery might help them. But I think what happens is they want to normalize that so much, they want to apply to all people that have gender dysphoria. And that's dangerous, especially if you apply it to children who are still formulating their sexuality. They're still formulating their perception of the world as they grow up. And because the mind's still very plastic until age 25. And so you have these children who might just be gay, but they're being told by the parents, oh, you're not gay, you're trans. Oh, okay. They don't even know what these things are. The parents have to explain to the kids these things, and then the kids take them on board, even though that may not be exactly what it is. And I think that they're overreaching when they're just broadly applying what's for very, very small percentages of population to a much larger one. Because even if you have 1.7% that are trans or something like that, out of that, a small minority is going to be the ones that really truly need radical surgery in order to make themselves comfortable with their body. Look at Blair White. She doesn't have that much. She has top surgery, but she doesn't have bottom surgery. She doesn't need it. She's comfortable as she is, but she also recognizes that she was born biologically male. Right? She doesn't try to hide that fact. That's to her what trans means. Somebody who was born biologically male, who transitions to become a female, but gender speaking, not as far as somebody who can clearly have periods or have a child, because that's how far the pendulum has swung, and that's why there's so much backlash for it.
Now, when you say intersex, you're talking about when they're born with both female and male genitalia, correct?
Yeah, intersex generally refers to
anatomical. Just making sure we're on the same page.
Intersex generally refers to anatomical, primary and secondary sex characteristics.
It used to be called, what was the other word?
Hermaphrodite.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
then these parents, they make a decision, and then sometimes the kids grow up and they're not comfortable, or and then they're trying to give themselves a label, and it's like, why does everybody just need a label?
I agree. Yeah, and
just be you. It's hard when everybody puts labels on things.
even in the case of a hermaphrodite, there's no such thing as a true hermaphrodite with both gametes. Gametes are the ovum and the spermatozoa, okay, or spermatozoa. The males produce the sperm. The females produce the ovum. This is how it is in biology for humans. This is non-debatable science. This is literally settled science. Okay, there's nothing to be had discussed there. And if anybody thinks that, you know, if you're born producing sperm, that somehow through medicine or medical procedures you can somehow produce ovum or have a baby or have an abortion or having a period, that is a mental delusion in my opinion. And I'm not, again, catering to the right. I'm not talking about how Matt Walsh or Ben Shapiro or any of those, you know, all those people view anything. I don't care. I am my own person. It is physically impossible to have that. And on my Facebook page, I posted two things. I posted this one, which I found out was satire, so I did edit it. I fixed my mistakes, people. I have since made aware this is satire. Okay, I fixed my mistakes. This, however, was not satire. You want to hear this one? Sure you do. Yeah. Yes. Lisa, you there?
Yep, I'm listening to you. I was reading the chat. I'm sorry. Everybody, you guys are like all so smart.
All right. So this one, I from my understanding, is not satire. The other one was, but like I said, there are people out there that do believe this. So,
hi, I'm Mama Rose. I am a transgendered woman. I go by she, her, they, them pronouns. And I can tell you right now, my period I experience every month is very real.
No, it's not.
Very valid.
No,
and very painful. Hi,
okay, so,
I'm Mama Rose. I am a...
This is what I wrote here. And again, this is relatively new on my Facebook. I have, look, I got people I got my babysitters, my original babysitters when I was like 3 on my Facebook. I have years of connections on my Facebook page. I said, no, your period is not very real. This is just making the trans community look silly and not helping anyone in the LGBTQ plus community. This has nothing to do with trans rights. This is someone who has a delusion that they're having something they 100% could not be possibly biologically have. Period. Pun intended. Again, this is not to diminish the LGBTQ plus community or the trans community. This is somebody who is thinking they have something that is not possible. And you know me, right. I write with logic papers. I mean, basic logic. I write philosophy papers. This is something that is called impossible. Metaphysically impossible. And they're trying to convince people that they're having a period. This makes no sense. This does not help the trans community.
No, I agree.
And so I got some backlash for that. Not very much, but I got a little bit of backlash for that. But it's just like, somebody explain to me this.
They just see, oh, you know, they're saying something, and like I said, Jeffrey Marsh, I feel like from what you've shown me, he's using the trans community as a shield just to say, well, I can do this and nobody can say anything to me, because if they say anything to me,
it's bigotry.
It's bigotry. And they're attacking me only because I'm trans.
Yep.
But I mean, then we're talking about, I was reading the chat here with kids, like, there's a huge thing, you know, the thing with the boy with the Barbie doll. Is that going to make him gay? Is that going to make him bisexual?
No.
Kids are just being damn
kids. Be kids.
Like, how can they even decide something?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of different opinions where, you know, kids know when they're very young, or, you know, you're born that way, or there's all kinds of different opinions.
You don't know crap until,
think a lot of it is
teen years.
Kids try to people please a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I'm sitting there constantly saying to my son or daughter, well, I think it's because you're this, they're going to tell me what I want to hear.
Exactly. Now, and look, the reality here, you know, we're all grown-ups. Most people, well, I should say most, but maybe it's most. I hate to use a qualifier, but you know what? A lot of people have early experiences with sexual things. You know, I knew when I was 13, 14, I liked girls. You know, 15, 16, you know, dated. You know, and so people experiment. People, you know, whether you experiment with guys or girls, it doesn't make you one thing or the other. I happen to like girls, and I always knew I did, so I didn't need to, you know, do things with guys and go, oh, I don't think I like it. But, you know, do it. Who cares? I couldn't care less. It doesn't make you gay, right? But people, you know, but kids will find out things on their own accord. We've all been there. We all managed somehow to magically make it through puberty. And most of us had sexual experiences before we were 18. right? With people of our own age, obviously, you know.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but that I think is part of the growing up process. I mean, in fact, let's I hate to say this for a pun, but let's be straight here, right? Do you guys remember playing games like Spin the Bottle? Do you guys remember playing games like 7 Minutes in Heaven? These were joyous times in my life where I was like, you know, first time you get to touch a boob kind of thing, right? You know, I mean, this is how men are. And women, the same thing. You know, women are attracted to men, and they go, man, this is unique. This is new. It's the same thing when you first try alcohol. The first time you ever get drunk. Most of us did not wait till we were 21 to drink, right? And so, right. You know, I think that exactly what you said. Let children be children. Let them grow up and be their teen years and formative years and their high school years. High school is a very, you know, formative time. You know, granted, I didn't have as much fun in my prom as I would like to because my best friend took the girl I was in love with. But, you know, whatever. We're still friends. I still have both of my Facebook.
Now, Steve, Macy's mom said, correct me if I'm wrong, but when a male to female bottom surgery is done, a vaginal cavity is created, but fallopian tubes and ovaries. Now, I don't think they're created. I just think I could be wrong, though.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's just a cavity, correct?
Yeah. So the again, I'm not a medical person, but the plastic surgery that they use, I've looked at it, and if you look at it, basically the bulb's tip on the penis basically gets rerouted and forms a clip, and then it just becomes an insertion. It's a wound, is basically what it is. Right.
It's pretty much, I hate to say it, but like sliced down the middle and inverted.
It's a wound, and it has to be dilated. Look, again, if that is what people want and they've made an informed decision, that's them, okay? And if people are attracted to that, that's fine too. People can make their own decisions as an adult. What I find though is they're being pressured into things and then realizing later on that they made a horrible mistake because they weren't properly informed.
Yes.
And that is malpractice if they're not properly informed, because you're altering somebody at such a fundamental level that you're changing the entire course of their lives, especially at a younger age if they become sterile, right? Chemical castration. The chemicals they use for chemical castration are the same chemicals they give prisoners and pedophiles. It's the same chemical. It's the same thing. And so,
I mean, it's tough. Like, I can see both sides. You know, they say if you don't start hormone therapy young, you know, it's really hard to transition. But then it's like, starting hormone therapy young, are you sure that's really what you want to do? I mean, I don't want to say the word phase because it's not a phase, but like, because you're, like we said, you're experimenting, you're trying to figure out, you're navigating life in general, not just your sexuality, but you're just navigating life in general.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you took hormones?
I can't imagine to have to make that type of decision.
Yeah. I mean,
14 or 15 or 13 or.
And I didn't want to get into the child aspect of it, but since we're talking about grooming here, I'm playing another video for you in a second. Tell me how anybody can rationally defend. And again, people are like, Steve sounds like some right winger. No, this is, again, we're talking about medical things, psychological things. How is it somebody could justify to me where a 12 or 13-year-old child knows they need a radical hysterectomy or bilateral hysterectomy or an osteomectomy or a double mastectomy? How do they know this? At 13, that's what they want. I will never wrap my head around that, because they're again, if you're an adult and that's what something you wish to choose to do, you know, and it's sad because, and I hope I should warn people about triggering. I usually put a little message up, but you know, I realize that triggering messages don't really do much. We're all adults. People that come to this channel know what they're getting themselves in for. And so the thing is, you never want to trigger somebody intentionally. You just don't, obviously. So you do want to give people warning. They can be talking about something that may affect them, and you don't give them a heads up. And I get that. But there are people that have survived breast cancer and that had to get, radical double mastectomies to survive, and the trauma that they went through because of that. And yet you have people saying, oh, this is what we need to do to a 13-year-old child. Where did we go wrong? How did things change so much? Because I remember people that had breast cancer, growing up. I remember, again, people wearing pink ribbons to support women with breast cancer, and the pain that they must go through by having to have a radical, double mastectomy.
Yeah.
And that's normative now, or some reason. It's like, oh, we should just voluntarily be doing this. I don't get it. I really don't. And again, if somebody could show that I'm wrong, and I will always change my positions. But how? How am I wrong on this? But we've normalized something that used to show compassion to women that had to have that happen to them to survive. And people can say, well, I really hate this when people say, well, the person might commit suicide if they don't get the surgery or blah, blah, blah. That is so, I don't see any studies for that. And I think that's a psychological thing. You're talking about a psychological person who wants to commit suicide, rather than a person who will die because of cancer. One is not the same as the other here.
I agree. So. I think you're 100% right. Yeah. Who is advocating this to 13-year-old kids?
A lot. Parents.
That's the problem.
Teachers, medical professionals. They really are.
I mean, TV, YouTube. We were talking on my channel, the show, the girl show, It's Me, Jazz, or whatever the heck the name of that show is. I can't remember, but she started transitioning at a very young age, and by 18, she had the entire surgery, the bottom surgery, top surgery, and everything. And her parents encouraged it. And now she's saying that she doesn't know she did the right thing.
Yeah, I think I have heard of them. Like I said, I know there's a group of people that are in UK. I think it's like 2,000 or something like that are suing. But I don't know the details. But I can imagine, again, certain surgeries being so irreversible at such a young age. I do agree it's a physician's thing. It's the physicians, the parents, and the kid. I get it, right? They're making that decision. But I could still argue that maybe they're not informing the children and the parents as much as they should. That is a fair argument to make, isn't it?
No, that's fair.
All right. Good.
And listen, as parents, we're all learning too. There's no book to be a parent in any way, shape, or form. And especially when it comes to things like this, we don't know. Things are changing every day.
Yeah.
We don't know.
See, but people feels like you're falling for the fear mongering. Give some examples. Well, go read about. I mean, this is not. I'm not putting on anything that is not already out there. I mean, this is really something that's being discussed everywhere. I'm only doing this one episode, so I don't have all that stuff at my ready. But this is pretty standard what's been going on. This is why people are suing. How many? I think was it 2,000 people are suing, 200 people? I don't remember the number, but they're suing because they had operations as a teen that they regret because they weren't fully informed. There's a lawsuit going on. That's an example. That's not fear mongering. And again, stop using hyperbolic words like fear mongering. When you're talking about protecting children and you're talking about adult-oriented subjects that need to be discussed, stop using hyperbolic language like bigot or fear mongering. That's not fear mongering at all. It's where did we go wrong where something like a double mastectomy, which was considered to be tragic that a woman had to suffer that, because it's got to be hard on them. It got to be. To normalize it, where we say, oh, if a 13-year-old wants a double mastectomy, they can have it. There are 15, 14-year-old women that have double mastectomies for gender-affirming surgery. Yeah, there's 2 lawsuits in California, somebody said, age 13 and 15. I haven't verified it or vetted that, but it doesn't.
You're
I don't
not
doubt
even growing at that age. Like, your body's not even fully developed, and not even at 18. 18 technically makes us an adult, but really, when the brain's not developed at 18, your body's still growing at 18. Yep. Your hormones are still raging at 18.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all remember those days, right? See?
My hormones are raging at 42. My God.
All right, so I'm going to play this video for you, and like I said, Elise, you didn't really know much about this before. This video is from somebody named Kewees. They only have about 200 subs, and I'm totally ripping off their video here because I'm playing it and reviewing it, which is not a rip-off. You're allowed to do it, it's fair use, but I want to give them full credit for it because I'm not going to, I just don't have the time to sit there and grab all these clips that everybody else has already done. This particular video is a really, really good video that just had them all there. So if you guys get a chance, go over to Kewees' video. Tell him NonSequitur Show says hi, and thanks for letting us talk about his video. Get him some subs. I'm a sub right now. There we go. All right.
Your parents screwed up. It's okay to say so. That's why I made a Patreon.
Is that what it's called?
Now listen to what he said there. Your parents screwed you up. That is why I made a Patreon.
You can't hear it, honey.
Oh, they can't hear it? Wait, you can't?
Nope, I couldn't hear it either.
Oh, okay. Let me fix this. This is why I got real time feedback here. 1 second. But hey, I'm pro.
Can you guys hear that?
No,
I can't hear.
Your parents.
Yeah, they can't. They can't. You can't. They could. You couldn't. Not true. You should try.
Your parents screwed up.
Can you hear that now?
It's okay to say so.
That is why I made a Patreon.
Can't hear it.
They can't hear it. You can't hear it? Oh, that's weird.
Oh, they said they can hear it.
They can hear it. Okay, so you couldn't hear this.
Oh, hold on.
That's why I made a Patreon, so that your.
Because I'm screen sharing just like I did the other one with the audio, so you should be able to hear it.
Yeah, I know.
Want me to try again?
I can't hear that one.
All right, let me try this.
No worries, I'll just...
Wait. Can you hear this?
Screwed up.
Not the outside. Can you hear this, Lisa?
It's okay to say so.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why I made a Patreon.
All right, so listen very carefully what he says here.
Your parents screwed
Your parents
up.
screwed up.
It's okay to say so. That's why I made a Patreon.
Right there. These are, again, his own words. He made a Patreon because he believes the parents screwed up. Okay. And by the way, he actually has even said that there's no such thing as boys and girls. Boys and girls don't exist. It's like, let people be boys and girls. I happen to enjoy being a boy growing up, okay? I enjoy the exploration. Again, I remember this, 12, I remember, I was taught how to kiss when I was like 12 years old by one of the girls that lived, she was like 15 or something. She was a few years older than me. It was like one of the greatest days I ever remember in my life, right?
Right?
So, yes, there are boys and there are girls, and let them be boys and girls where they can.
This question comes up all the time. How can I get my hands?
Sorry, I was trying to...
That's okay. All right, so that's the first thing. Again, I'm not making this up.
That we could talk about it.
That we could talk about
we
it.
could connect in a way that has more privacy.
I like that with the rock.
So that we could talk to each other in a way that's more open. And I wanted to spend more connected time with you.
What's your obsession with kids, bro? Like, what do you want from those kids?
My mouth is like on the floor right now.
What's with you and kids? And another point to add is, why are you encouraging those children to contact you off platform?
Exactly. Listen, let me stop it right there. Exactly, dude. Because Kewees is, I've never talked to this person, know nothing about him. That is exactly what I thought of when I watched this originally. And again, I've seen these clips before. But why are you telling a children to contact you off platform or off YouTube or off TikTok or off your media and telling them that their parents screwed them up and have privacy? Exactly. These are grooming tactics. These are literally grooming tactics.
Yes. I'm like on the floor. My mouth is on the floor right now.
I told you. If you haven't looked into this stuff, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating here. These are Jeffrey's own words here.
You would think that the comments are more than enough for him to interact with those children. But no, not really. That does not seem enough to him at all. Because he's actually encouraging those children to go off platform, specifically to his Patreon, to contact him. I don't know whether to label this abomination of a human being completely smart or completely stupid. Trying to profit off of kids and at the same time talk to kids. Like,
I don't know. Here's the thing. This is my own personal opinion, and whenever I talk to you about my personal opinion as supposition, I do so. I do not state it as fact. My opinion is he doesn't do it for the money. My opinion, he does it for the attention. I have been around enough malignant narcissists, high-functioning narcissists, covert narcissists. I know these signs. He loves the attention. Loves the attention, and especially to weaponize a particular group like the LGBTQ plus community, to weaponize them and say, you know what, I'm going to go after your children, and if you criticize me, you're a bigot. As a shield. That's what they do. That's what a malignant narcissist does.
Completely wrong.
And that's what I think he does.
I'm shocked that they're not standing up and saying, like, this is not right.
Some are. Some are.
Some are good.
Yeah, some are.
Great.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I've allowed trans people on my page. Like Melissa was trans, and she's like, yeah, she doesn't deal with any of this. Because people recognize malignant behavior. And it's like, if you're going to tell somebody you must respect them because they happen to have some kind of sexual orientation or predilection, or they, if like I said, I don't care what grown adults do. If you have your freak flag, fly it high. Fly it high. I don't care. I have one of my dear friends was a BSDM master teacher kind of thing. I never got into it, but you know what? I adored her. We were great friends. She loved BDSM. I'm like, you know what? It's your thing, right? I don't judge those things. But when you go after kids and you're telling kids to go to your Patreon, where it literally says on there, something about sex, that's inappropriate. That's just inappropriate.
How is this not against Patreon rule? I mean, I don't have Patreon, but how is this even being allowed?
I don't know. Because, well, again, supposition. The only thing I can think of is that a lot of people are scared to say something. And we'll get into that. We'll watch this video, and there's more to it. And you'll see what happens to the woman that did call him out. What happened to her? She was terrorized, literally terrorized. I have nothing to be terrorized of. Nobody, he doesn't know. Jeffrey doesn't know who I am, and I don't care about his flying monkeys. I've had worse. I've literally suffered far worse than what Jeremy could fucking offer. Okay, I'm not scared. But I think that a lot of people don't want to say anything because they know that these people have flying monkeys. It happened to me just today, and I'll be talking about this on my primary channel or my other channel. One of the people in the trans community on Twitter just today, if you go to my Twitter, I'm pretty sure it's in the video description. And I'm not even like exaggerating. Literally made up two quotes, quote Steve McRae, and then said I had said them. Then said there were screenshots of me saying them, and then tagged Matt Dillahunty, Arn Raw, and 3 other people that used to be a co-host to this channel, or at least two people that used to be a co-host to this channel, to all be her flying monkey, to defend her without even them. Obviously, they don't care because I don't get along with them. And I miss Arn, I do, but unfortunately he doesn't get along with me. But whatever. But the other co-hosts of this channel, yeah, they lied. They lied about me. They got caught lying, and then so she literally made 2 quotes. Said I said them. Said there were screenshots to gaslight people, and then called her flying monkeys in to come defend her. That's just what people are afraid of. Now I'm not afraid of that because I know the behaviors. And I'll be talking about it on my primary channel if you guys want to go over there.
Yeah, Rita, we know about the flying monkeys.
Well, you know what? Like I said, do you want, that's another topic, but do you want to discuss that on my channel or your channel? I go to your channel and discuss it. I don't care. I'm not in it for the views or anything like that. I like to have subs and subscribers and members like anybody else, but I'm about the conversation. But I don't know if you want a different content for your channel. I will show you in real time what happens when people lie and invite their flying monkeys to come defend them if you want, or I can do it on my channel. I need content too, but your call. You can decide later.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Whatever. No, I'm down. I like to do different stuff.
We can do them both. I don't know.
Look, Joseph said 10 years ago the FBI. I was watching that. Oh God, what was it called? The Neighbors, or something. Remember that the story of the girl? She was telling her story how she was kidnapped. Well, she kind of kept running off to be with him, and the guy he had her believing that the aliens wanted her to make a baby with him. Oh my God, why can't I think of the name? It was a true story about this lady, Jane something. It was happened back in the 70s.
Let's look into that. I want to look into that.
Oh my God, I can't think of the name. Somebody will tell me it. Yeah. And the man had her believing he groomed her from being over there, and he was saying things like, telling the story the very first day that he met the family about this UFO thing that he thought he saw, and he saw how interested she was in it. So as she got older and older, that he was putting in her head, and then he bought a speaker and was telling her that these terrestrial beings wanted him and her. They had to mate, or they were going to come after the little sisters. And this was a true story. And the FBI was trying to get this man. And he was getting off left and right. He would go to court and he was getting off. And but it was complete grooming. It was terrible. I cannot remember the name of that.
I don't either. But one of my friends said Von Helton, and that's funny because the people know about Von Helton. There's that honestly could possibly be true. Von Helton is a character. To say the
What
least.
was that called?
I don't remember. I don't know.
It's gonna drive me crazy.
We'll figure it out. Let's go on more in the video here.
I don't even know what to say. This man literally made grooming profitable.
If you need a family, you can come hang out with me. I love you very much. If you do not have a family that loves you, I'm going to be your family.
Again, even if you're convinced he's not grooming kids, this absolutely, and I'll have a tab on it that I'll show here after this video, this is grooming behavior. Without question. I love you.
Jan Broberg.
Okay, I would have never heard that name.
The Jan Broberg story. You'll have to look it up. But anyway, sorry.
No, I get.
It was gonna drive me crazy.
Dude, I am the same way as you. I when I'm at work and I'm thinking about something and I cannot remember what it is, I will literally just sit there until I have to figure it out. I have to remember. I'm like, I cannot remember this. Like, I'll tell you, I could not for the life of me think of what was, and that's I can't even. I forgot it already. There's something
it was called A Friend of the Family. They did it on Netflix, and they told her real story. But this man, his name was Robert Birchfield, and he groomed her from like grooming at its finest. It was crazy, just like this. It's terrible.
This is what's one of the people in the live chat, the listeners, love bombing. This is exactly what it is. It's this love bombing. This is a sign of grooming. You'll see a lot of YouTubers will use very similar things, not so much overt like this, but you'll see a lot of people. I understand, and I empathize with you, and when all the time they're literally just getting the narcissistic supply.
I see a lot of trauma bonding on YouTube.
Oh, especially people that insert themselves in the trauma, and I had that happen to me too. Everything, it's so funny. Like I hate bringing her up again, but like Katie Joy, she will literally anything that's happened to anybody else has happened to her. She's such a trauma vulture that she feeds off trauma, and she'll take that trauma and she'll interject herself into the narrative of the story somehow. It's bizarre. But yes, love bombing.
I will tell you about going no contact.
No contact.
So you've decided to go no contact with your family.
Why would that be a good thing? I don't think it's ever a good thing to go no contact to your family. Now, I do understand there might be some times when you have, hypothetically, I can see it. If you're such in a family where your parents are so radicalized, evangelical nut jobs where they're going to stone you for being gay or behead you or, treat you poorly, then I get it. But that is so rare.
Places that they can go get guidance from, not a secret Patreon room.
Thank you. If those people need the help, why is Jeffrey Marsh the person that they should go to? He has no qualifications for anything. He's not a psychologist. And even if he was, he still would know you cannot have private sessions with children it is ethically wrong. It's ethically wrong. Sorry, I'm being bombarded with messages right now for something unrelated. If you guys hear that in the background, my apologies.
It's that time of year again when you start thinking about going no contact.
How rare must that be, though? Lisa, we always say, and let me ask you this before you respond. We all have had things in our life where we said, hey, look, I'm going to run away. I remember one time I ran away. I must have been 8 or 9. And I had the long stick and little hobo thing that my dad taught me. And I got as far as around the corner before one of my neighbors was like, what's wrong? I was a kid. I was like, maybe I was even younger. But we all have those feelings. Don't you think a groomer like this is playing on those feelings? Like, you shouldn't be home. Your parents don't understand you. I'm the only one that understands you. I get you. I love you.
It sounds, I'm just looking at the words no contact. Like, what do you mean start about going no contact? Like, what?
It means they just basically disown their parents. They stop talking to their parents.
Yeah, like, how does, like...
It's isolation.
My mouth is just on the floor. I'm sorry.
Groomers isolate their victims.
I can't understand how this can happen.
And worse is people defending this. This is what I'm saying.
People are ridiculous. If they defend this,
it's rare,
they're ridiculous. It has nothing to do with the LGBTQIA plus community. It has nothing to do with what sexuality you are. If you're a man or a woman, whatever you're being labeled as, it has nothing to do with any of that in any way, shape, or form. It has 1,000,000% to do with you do not go and talk to other people's children about things of that nature, or anything really of any nature, unless you're their parents or some type of certified psychologist that their parents send them to. And I get it. Some parents are old school and they may not be able to talk to their parents about it, but there are 1,000,001 resources out there nowadays, and it's definitely he is not a resource.
Yeah. Nope, I 1,000% agree. And that's, again, if somebody wants to convince me he's not actually grooming kids, there's a discussion to be had there. I think it'd be a hard argument, but whatever. But to say that these are not grooming behaviors, you're fundamentally wrong. These are the quintessential grooming behaviors.
Cult behavior. You guys are right. And weaponizing the trans community.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
He's using it. I said in the very beginning, he's using it as a shield. It's like, if you don't like me, you're a bigot. If you're telling me I'm doing this wrong, you're gay bashing, you're trans bashing, you're bashing me for my sexuality and what I label myself as.
Yep. Somebody fake channel buy.
That's Michelle.
Oh, okay. That's Michelle.
She follows me. She chases me. Sorry.
Yeah, she gets removed. Yeah. Okay.
To love it.
You're gonna love it.
Sick. And the bloody icing on the bloody cake.
Now, that Muslim woman right there, pay very close attention, because she's the one that really kind of initially clipped a lot of these together to show this predatory behavior. And what this woman went through is mind-blowing. The retaliation that she had for merely pointing out that children could be in danger.
I coach a lot of people one-on-one who want to go no contact with their parents.
But jokes aside, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new video on the channel. And today's video is going to be controversial, usual. Pushing the limits of what's acceptable and what's not, according to the woke media, or the woke ideology, or mindset, or whatever the you guys want to call it as. Now, today's video is about Jeffrey Marsh. The likes of him or anyone from the alphabet community is really not that uncommon. Coming across those kinds of species is really not that uncommon for me. And before I continue on or utter...
Yeah, I don't know how common or uncommon it is. I think what happens is that the more radicalized ones, such as Jeffrey, they're the ones that people talk about, right? The average trans person, the average gay person, nobody's going to talk about. Why? Because it's so normative, right? It's just nothing unusual. I work with a lot of gay people. I mean, it's you don't think, you don't care. You're not going to put somebody on an air merely because they're gay, but you put something on air because they're gay and they're going after kids, people are going to watch. And I wouldn't do that. I would not have this guy Jeffrey on.
No.
I can't imagine why I would have him on. I mean, maybe for educational purposes, maybe because this is what the show does allow people to have platforms. So maybe in that context I would, but he would never be somebody that I would bring on as a co-host like you. Nobody. Oh, hey, Laura's becoming an initiate. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Yes. And like I said, I don't know who Kewees is, but make sure you guys will say hi to him when you get a chance. From the NonSequitur Show, thanks for using his video. It's fair use, and I'm giving full attribution to him. He only's got like a 210 subs, so maybe we can get them a little higher on that.
Or any single word, I wholeheartedly believe that Jeffrey Marsh is a child groomer. Use your common sense here. You don't just go on TikTok or any social media platform making yourself out to be this sort of parental or family figure to misguided children, and on multiple occasions encouraging them to contact you off platform.
Exactly. It's so funny. Why does this even need to be explicitly said, Lisa? Why? Kewees is exactly right. I hope I pronounced it not Kewees or Kewees. But why does this need to be explicitly said? It's just should be just something that doesn't need to be stated.
Common knowledge.
I don't get it, man.
Nobody should have to tell him he shouldn't be able to do any of this stuff. He should just not do it.
Yeah,
I mean, it should be common knowledge that you don't set up chat rooms to hide kids from their parents.
Right.
That reminds me of those. If you remember when the internet first came out, and you got those AOL discs, and then you would go into like the private.
Oh yeah,
they would
right.
have,
Oh
like,
yeah.
chat room, and then people were trying to get addresses and stuff.
ASL check. Yep.
Yeah.
Those children do not need to.
I think they had Usenet before that too, but yeah. And it first of all, if you have to do ASL check, you're somebody that nobody adults should be talking to anyways. This is what kids did, right? Grown people don't really care about, your age, your location. You have a conversation, people, you get along. That's great, right? But the reality is that you see a lot of the only people that are going to care about the age, sex, location is people looking for somebody that's, underage to have sex with and where they're at. That's what it was back in AOL, right?
Yep.
I never
They
did.
were mean. Remember
once.
To Catch a Predator? Maybe Chris Hansen needs to do a show on him, To Catch a Predator.
No, because Chris, I have it's a long story, but they were trying to troll me by getting Chris to do a story on me, and because I interviewed with them on something else to talk about some behavior of somebody else. So I've been on Chris Hansen's channel, so the trolls were like trying to Steve's doing all this bad stuff. No, I'm not kidding. This is the high level trolling that I've had. This is what I'm saying, that I get what this woman went through, and that nothing that Jeremy could do can even affect me, because I've had top level shit happen. If you go back on this video on this channel, look for a video where I had my friend Jim Jules come on, who was nearly sex trafficked, and she came on with a guy named Frank Parlato Jr.
I know her. Jim Jules.
Yeah.
She's from overseas, right?
No. She's from well, everybody knows she's from Texas.
Does she have an accent?
Texas.
Jim Jules. Oh no, I'm thinking about Burger Girl. I'm sorry, but I know Jim Jules.
Okay.
Did she used to go in Rio Entertainment?
Yeah.
Yes, I know her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she's kind of dropped off things. She's had a lot of things going on, but I adore Jim Jules. So she did the first show with me on Non Sequitur after a lot of changes, and I had Frank Parlato Jr. on, and Frank Parlato Jr. was the person who broke the Nixium sex scandals case. Remember the girl from Smallville? Remember Nixium?
Nixium. Oh yes.
What was his name? I have to look it up because that's how very little I care. Nixium. I don't even know how to spell Nixium. What was it? Nixium sex.
I think it's
Keith Raniere. That was it. So Keith Raniere. Frank Parlato Jr. broke that story, and so Unirock. This is a true story. Unirock got a hold, and other people got a hold of Frank Parlato Jr. to try to convince him that I was a sex cult leader, and that I used philosophy to go to atheist seminars, to go to the lobby of the hotels and talk to women about philosophy to pick them up. And that he was trying to convince Chris Hansen of this. I'm not even making this up. Matter of fact, if you go to my Twitter my Facebook, I literally have now sex cult leader alleged on my Facebook because of that. This is what people do. This is the level of trolling people that will go to try to get Chris Hansen to do a story on me when there was just nothing there.
Justine, who just followed me over here, what a psycho.
Yeah. That is a straight up true story. And he did, like I said, they tried the same thing with Frank Parlato Jr. And so what's fun fact though, Frank Parlato Jr. watched my stuff, and he actually said, "I like your videos. I find you to be reasonable. I find you to be intelligent, articulate, and fun." And I mean, maybe I'm throwing a little bit more words than he said, but he did say that I was rational. That was his word. And he liked my stuff. And I asked him, "Well, hey, you want to come on and talk about sex trafficking?" And he came on. We had a great show. But I had him on my show because they originally had contacted him to try to convince him that I was a sex cult leader. Yeah. Yep.
Well, damn.
Yeah. So, and by the way, I this is the first time I've ever mentioned that person's name on this channel. I always swore that I wouldn't, but in this particular case, I think it was appropriate to do so because it is in line with the fact that people have weaponized this stuff, and those people do weaponize these types of things. So, but I swear I never mentioned. I didn't say his whole name on this, so technically I still never will.
To go off platform just to seek comfort or solace in you. Now, may I remind you folks, this is not the first time that Jeffrey Marsh got called out for such a thing. Dozens of videos are out there calling him out for his deplorable behavior, but one that sticks out the most is from this content creator on TikTok who has been on his ass for quite
she has a big following,
a long time. Unfortunately, I can't show you any of the snippets of those videos because they were doxed into submission to remove those videos off of the platform.
So I just got an email.
Listen.
They know where I live. They have got my daughter's details on the email. They've given the school details and everything. Yeah, my daughters are involved now in this. As some of you might know that my car was damaged in this whole thing. I'm done. I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to talk about Jeffrey Marsh. I've deleted everything.
You feel her pain.
Some of you.
This is legit pain.
Wow.
This is real.
Me.
So they
And
doxed their
uploaded it
children?
on TikTok.
Yeah, listen.
Without my hijab.
They found pictures of her without her hijab. They doxed her. I think they attacked her car. They made her delete the videos about Jeremy Marsh. They basically bullied her into submission. That woman's
Love you, Bloody
pain.
Mary.
Yeah, thank you, Bloody Mary. Thank you for joining us over here. And I'm sorry that you're triggered. That's again, you never want to trigger somebody at all. And some people.
It's a tough conversation.
It's a tough conversation. It absolutely is. That woman's pain is real. That is not acting. That's pain caused by Jeffrey Marsh and his flying monkeys, which again, we've experienced it. I could tell you right now, I've experienced what she's experienced. Not maybe to that, degree of she was showing a picture, like they'd find her pictures and then they showed a picture without her job, which is morally unethically disgusting. But I had people making fake accounts of my daughter. I had people making fake accounts of my daughter saying that she was sexually molested. I had to literally, talk to my ex. Not my ex would clearly never believe anything, but my ex was so pissed off at trolls saying, "You don't know anything about Steve. This would never have occurred. Who are you people?" And I try to explain to her, look, these people online, they just do it to get a rise out of people, But I know that my daughter watches my stuff, and I know my daughter will eventually see these things,
Right.
But she's not an idiot. But this is the level they go to. They will go real life. They will make fake accounts. They will use your family members.
Now.
Yeah, flying monkeys.
I'm getting messages about they're going to RAPE and kidnap my daughter, do all kinds of stuff to her, that they're seeing her through ring. I mean, nasty stuff. And then they doxed 2 kids thinking they were my kids and they were kids that were murdered. But now they're trying to get me to release their names to prove it. And I'm like, you're not getting names.
No,
you can
never
harass
get,
people. Like, are you crazy?
Never give them
I
anything.
don't give a shit if you believe me or not.
Never give them anything. That's what they want. They want you to jump through hoops.
Weirdos. Use my language.
People, I know, the people that know this channel know the history. Because we used to have, this channel used to make $6,000 a month. This channel had millions of downloads. We were one of the most popular podcasts at one time until my partner, who was a crooked partner, tried to steal, the money and the show and everything else, and it lost its momentum over 2.5 years. However, during that time period, the narratives were so bizarre that there were people out there actually, and I'm not even kidding you, Elise, trying to convince people that I murdered the producer of the show. That I didn't even met. And as a matter of fact, his symbol is still the symbol I use in the very bottom of the video, the yin yang. He was one of the nicest people ever. I mean, there was nobody that hard at heart like the producer of the show. And we might the name. His professional name was Bill.
It's a shame. It's like the better you do, the more people want to see you fail.
Yeah, but that's how far they're going.
Especially women. Women are. I hate to say this. I have a great group of women, but a lot of women do not want to see other women succeed.
Yeah, and well, I'll talk about that in a second. And to tell you even how worse it was. This is why I empathize with this woman, because I know what flying monkeys are like. You're talking about them on your channel. This is one of the reasons I think that I relate to you, because when I listen to your channel, you guys talk about some of the things that I just lived through personally. And so I relate to it, and you do a great job on it. This is why I think you and I connect very well. And so they not only accused me of murdering him, one of the people literally called up the coroner. My friend died of natural causes, okay? But they called up the coroner and tried to convince him that he was murdered. They put the coroner report on their webpage. The coroner was so mortified and disgusting. I hate to use the mortified, but I mean, he was disgusted that he actually had to contact the family and let them know there's a psychopath dude that had contacted him, trying to convince him that it was not natural causes. And I've never met my producer in real life. He lived in Florida. But to try to weaponize a death of somebody like that because you're a flying monkey is beyond sick. You know, and you talk about like women. Women tend to stick together in a lot of things, and they should, because women have a lot of horrible things that have happened to them in their lives. But they've also can weaponize things like the Me Too movement. Katie Joy Paulson weaponized the Me Too movement by trying to claim I sexually harassed her on this channel. That never happened. It so not only never happened, but in the deposition or in the court documents, she lied to the court and said that I was actually lived in her state, Minnesota, which I do not. She said I lived in Elk River, Minnesota. She tried to get a restraining order of me and 2 other people because she was afraid for her life, and that she wanted to pay for her moving cost because she had to move. Because she said that I sexually harassed her, but when it came out, all the things came out, I had the actual chat. Never once happened, and she changed her story 6 times, like literally 6 times. So everybody knows now that it was bullshit. But imagine myself having to go through that for 2.5 years, that a woman falsely accused me of something that obviously never happened, because she was friends with the guy that I sued and won. That's a flying monkey. She was his flying monkey. So,
that's another thing. I don't know why other people need to get involved so bad. Like what is that going to do? You want to destroy someone's life? Like, I don't get people calling jobs and the things they do. I mean, you're going to take someone's livelihood away because you don't like them or agree with their opinion or whatever it is.
That's exactly what they do. I'm losing my lighting here. I'm sorry. It's getting late here. We're going to be wrapping it up soon. But let me finish this real quick.
Yes, I know we got all off track.
I know I don't like doing that, and people like Steve, the Non-Sequitur Show. We love it still, and it's great. We are sorry what happened to you, and I hate keep bringing it up. I really do on this particular channel. I do it on my other channel, but I think there are times it's appropriate to do so, and this is one of them because this is a serious issue.
Yeah,
we've come to a point, ladies and gentlemen, in today's society where you really cannot speak.
Somebody has said. She said you sexually harassed her while you're in a room together. Yeah, she meant a room like we're in a StreamYards, right? We use a software called vMix, which doesn't use rooms. It wasn't like a room like a Zoom call or whatever. vMix doesn't have rooms. It's called NDI. She said that I sexually harassed her when we were in a room together, and when the host left, this was in the court thing that she filed, that when the other person left the room, I sexually harassed her, leading the court to believe that we were actually in a room together. This is how dishonest this person is. Yeah. Oh, this is Aaron. EK People Suck has multiple videos on this where she just breaks it down. It does an amazing job because I gave her all the evidence, and it just absolutely shows how evil people can be by making things up. This is why on my Twitter today I wasn't going to stand for somebody saying that I said something that I didn't say. Where's the evidence? There is no evidence if I didn't say it. And when somebody says there's a screenshot of it, okay, great. Show me that screenshot. The screenshot they showed did not say what they quoted me as, not even remotely so. And that's what I'm saying. That's what these people will do, like Jeremy Marsh. He uses people like Katie Joy or sociopaths as flying monkeys to protect the evil that he does. Because talking to children without their parents being there, I find to be morally evil. All right, let's continue this.
And what you just said, that sentence is the bottom line. There's nothing more, nothing less. That's the bottom line. Talking to children without their parents around. Bottom line.
Bothers you, or anything that, you just simply do not approve of, because there's this risk or fear that you'll be canceled, doxxed, or God forbid, getting fired from your job for simply stating an opinion online.
And
there are literal human trash who took the time of day to vandalize this woman's car. You can sit here and bark and whine, but it doesn't really change the fact that this is wrong.
Yep.
I'm not quite surprised by the fact that a lot of these denizens of TikTok have been coming into the defense of Jeffrey Marsh, despite him being a giant red flag. But what can I say? Groomers always defend one another. None of these videos were in any way, shape, or form at all manipulated or edited.
Right.
It's literal snippets of Jeffrey Marsh being a complete weirdo, trying to earn the trust of those children by pretending to be a parental figure to them, when he's literally a stranger online and shouldn't be trusted and should stay far away from children.
I want to talk to the kid. That's why I made a Patreon, so that we could talk about it. so that we could connect in a way that has more privacy. And I wanted to spend more connected time with you. It's about Jeff and I having sex.
I mean,
Your parents.
what else needs to be said?
Nothing.
Nothing. Look, if somebody wants to justify or claim and argue to me that he's not a groomer, okay, there's a discussion to be had, maybe, because he hasn't touched anybody yet or done anything. I don't know. To me, having the groomer behaviors makes him a groomer like that, because if you're telling...
Grooming, I would think, is mostly psychological, not physical.
I agree, but somebody was trying to say, well, if it's not meant to lead to some kind of sexual relationship, it's not grooming. And I'm like, I don't really think that's, to me, even if that was, in somehow like part of what grooming would entail, I don't think it has to get that far. The act of grooming doesn't have to lead to something else. It is the act of grooming itself. Just because I haven't gotten to the end step yet doesn't matter. And I can't read Jeffrey's Martian mind to know what his objective is. But even if his objective is not to somehow meet these kids or whatever, because I don't know if it's even that far. The objective is to isolate them from their parents and to groom them to believe what he believes.
Yes, 100%.
So
exact, and grooming doesn't always have to mean sex. It can mean anything. But in his thing, he wants them, whether he wants to be sexual with them or whatever, he's still talking about things that are not his place.
Not his place. That's a good way to put it.
And he's grooming them to believe what he wants them to believe.
Yeah, I think that's an next way to put it. Not his place. He's not the parent. I don't know why anybody else would. I'm trying to find something quick. I don't know why anybody can't understand that. He's not the parental units here. He shouldn't be, manipulating children at a young age who are impressionable, and they're already going through enough that already are having these emotional feelings, these hormones raging, and he's telling them, hey, what you're feeling, I can help you with this. Come talk to me in private about it. And we'll talk about sex. No, that's not his place. That's not his place. Anyways.
Somebody said, is he in the U.S.? Is he in the U.S.?
Yes, I think so. I think so. I'm not, that's a good question. I don't remember where he's from. I honestly don't. I'm going to put my link to my other channel in the live chat there. If you guys want to go over there eventually, I may not stream tonight, but I do want to talk about that person who attributed 2 false quotes to me. Eventually, I'm probably going to do it on that channel there. So it's in the live chat. I also need to put your link is in the video description. But what do you got else to add before we end this? Because I'm just frustrated. I'm just really frustrated.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I was a little nervous because I know that when it comes to discussions like this, it is, there's lots of, let's say this is correct. There's lots of different opinions, but I don't think this has anything to do with the trans community, the LGBTQIA plus community. It has nothing to do with any community, any label whatsoever. I think this 1,000,000% is just overstepping the boundaries. You are not these children's parents. You are not anything to these children. To try to isolate them from their parents or whatever adults in their life, and to try to put your beliefs on them is 100% wrong.
Yep. And somebody had pointed out,
no matter what fashion you're doing it in, and Patreon, and this is what gets me with YouTube too.
Right.
I don't understand how they allow these things to happen. It should immediately be shut down.
Yep. I don't know either. I really don't. Skid Row Trash says it is. Check out the bite model. I agree with you, Skid Row Trash. And Stacey K says exact grooming is a psychological prep prior to any act. Thank you, Stacey K. That's what I'm saying. I don't really care to mind read what his final objective is. It doesn't matter. These are the steps to get to some kind of to final act. Do we have to wait and be reactive? Whatever happened to being proactive in these types of situations? Again, people on my page are so concerned how bigots might be using this rather than the safety of the children. I think they've got their priorities misplaced, because nobody here has bashed on trans or LGBTQ plus or anything like that. I would say that 99% of my audience support them. There's maybe some that don't. that, like I say, I got a wide audience, and I'm not, I can't, make everybody, think the same, obviously. But for the most part, the vast majority of the watchers of this channel supports those communities. And almost all those people are rational people that will say this is unacceptable behavior. One of my biggest supporters is a gay man who's like, he's sick of this. He's sick of people like Jeremy Marsh being propped up as some kind of great spokesperson because he's a book writer and he's a spokesperson for gay and advocates of gay rights. He's like, he does not speak for me. This guy is telling me. He's like, I don't want to be associated with somebody like this. Because, again, most gay people just want to live their lives.
Get one of these kids over to him, and then something happens.
See, I told you so.
Yeah. Yeah. Then what? Then what's everybody going to say? Oh, well, why didn't somebody do anything? Yeah. Well, we tried to do something, and what did y'all say? We're bigots. We're this. We're that.
Transphobe.
You can't win.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. They throw out these terms, and they're so inappropriate. When you're alienating allies. People that would march with you and people that would say, look, I want equal rights for everybody. I left the Mormon church because of their stance on gay marriage. In California 8, that Prop 8, and they were against gay marriage. I'm like, why? And I was already having doubts anyways, but I mean, that was the final straw. And then I found out they did what's called, through the Evergreen Project, they did what's called reparative therapy. Where they would actually electroshock people and treat people with chemicals in order to like pray the gate away. That doesn't work. Not only does it not work, it's torture. It's almost, to me, criminal. It has never worked. You cannot pray the gay away. You surely cannot electroshock or use chemicals to alter somebody's fundamental being. You can't just. It doesn't work. They'll pretend out of fear. But they'll never actually stop being attracted to the sex they're attracted to. Correct?
No, I agree. I mean, I was reading Gymnast comments too. I seen something, I don't know, it was probably like a year ago. And there was this video that came out and they played it in the New York public school. Oh my God, this video, they showed it to like, it was like on the weekends and they brought in all these children and they showed this video. And it was insane. I could not believe they showed this video to these kids. It was a big thing, I think, like 2 years ago. But they're trying to, it's almost like they're taking away our rights as parents to be able to raise our kids and have our own discussions with them. And I get it. Sometimes kids aren't comfortable with their parents, but there's resources and stuff out there. Mm-hmm. It's not, and the resources aren't supposed to be some man on TikTok or some woman on TikTok or a transgender person, whatever he goes by, or she goes, I don't know his pronoun and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's not their place to do it.
Yep, I agree.
And shouldn't be encouraging them to go off somewhere because then when something bad does happen, it's already too late.
Yep. Skid Rose Trash says, when they mislabel you, it's just name calling. The words they use don't actually apply to you. Yep, thank you. They just know that there are words to silence and demonize others. Yeah, and that's why I don't really have productive conversations with any of those people. Anybody who says I'm far right, far left, I've been called a Nazi. I'm Jewish. And then somebody says, well, Jews can be Nazi. I'm like, oh, come on. You've lost your freaking mind. Matter of fact,
labeling.
Right. In fact, I've even said on this channel, there's certain people I will never have on. Holocaust deniers are one of them. I will never have them on. And I've had flat earthers on, but Holocaust deniers is so much even worse than them. Right? I mean, so I will not, I love discussing topical things and controversial things and things of that nature. This channel does not shy away from controversy. This is why we've lost so many, because we don't cater to a bunch of people. We talk about what we want to talk about, and of course, people have different sides. So this channel lost a lot of its sub base because it did not conform to, a specific niche. But the thing is I will still have certain conversations that not only am I ill-equipped to have emotionally or educational wise, I'm sickened by them, and Holocaust deniers sicken me. And so this is about the level that I'll get to where I'm sick, but I can still discuss it. Does it make sense? I'm sickened by it, but I can still discuss it.
And it should be discussed. And Boots said the language is difficult for the rest of society. That's true. And people, I was born in the 80s. People born in the 70s, the 60s. People like our grandparents. They don't understand a lot of this language. And now it's almost like you can't even ask, because if you ask,
Yep.
Somebody might get offended. It's like you can't ask to be educated about it because then you get offended. I don't know if you saw. This is going to sound crazy, but have you saw the most recent Dave Chappelle special, The Closer?
No, but I like Dave Chappelle.
They gave a ton of the trans community this whole thing.
Maybe I did. I don't know. You break it up. I saw him talking about trans stuff. That's a few months ago. Yeah, I
show with him, but she answered all the questions that everybody kind of wanted to know and had like a conversation about it. And it was a real non-filtered conversation, and he was allowed to pretty much ask anything he wanted to ask. And it really educated a bunch of people. It was a really good special. And it kind of like, I know it was like a comedy thing, but he explained it and it was really good.
Yeah, no, I think I may have. But anyways, I do got to wrap it up.
All right, love.
Liz, I appreciate you coming on. Let's collaborate more. Because like I said,
for sure, anytime.
I don't much get into the Michelle stuff, but there's other overlapping stuff that
I'm veering off of that. I really don't even want to talk about. We're trying to ghost her, to be honest.
Well, you know what? Maybe, like I said, I'll talk about some things on my channel. Maybe I should come over to yours, and you know, I have interviews coming up too. I'm going to be on Smell's channel on Friday as they're interviewing me. So I'm trying to get out there more because I've had a lot of people say, hey, Steve, we come on my channel. I just haven't had the time, and I feel so bad because my thing is if I ask people to come on my channel, you know, I'm grateful for them, so I reciprocate by going on their channel and, you know, cross-pollinate. So, you know, I really do want to go on your channel.
Anything you do, let me know, and then I can put it in my community tab.
Awesome.
And I wanted to thank everybody from my thank you everybody from Steve's channel for welcoming me, and everybody who came over from mine. Thank you guys for coming over here and supporting.
Yeah, go subscribe to Lisa. Go subscribe to Kewees himself, and again, let them know that we used his video and appreciate it. I do got to wrap it up. I do want to, before I go, I want to give my well wishes to a friend of mine. They are listening. They are having some issues. With some headaches and other things, and I really do want to give my best to them. I've enjoyed my conversations with them recently very much, so they know who they are. But you know, I want to give my well wishes. So with that, I'm gonna leave you guys. I will be streaming probably this weekend, like I said, on my channel. A few other things. I got some reviews to do. If you like philosophy, like science, you like this stuff like this, well, come over to this channel and my personal channel, and let's talk. Good night.
Thank you again, Steve, and I love all you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Mwah. Thank you. Appreciate it. This was great.